Welcome. So nice to have you here with me. Fasting space today. We're on a path toward better health. Can be many different paths converging in the same direction. And whether that's a fasting path, it's a healthy eating path, movement path, you're leaning in to any of the paths that we talk about. To me, fasting, a base layer of health. And as we're practicing these things every day, doing our best to enact the practices, bring the benefit of them into our life. I say there comes a time when we have to start getting really clear about who we are, what are we about. And this is the type of thing that can bring us from a place of health as something that we do for a little while to something that we are. I am a big believer that health is a way of being. And when we're trying to codify a new way of being to make it a part of us, did that session the other day, make fasting a part of us. A good way to do that is to have principles. Take the ideas, take the concepts that we are doing. Say, can we distill it all the way down into a principle? Meaning like a phrase that we can speak out. We can have principles across lots of different areas of our life. How we approach relationships, how we handle money, right? We can have money principles. We can have all kinds of different types of principles. Today we're talking about core health principles. What are they? And have you thought about that? You say, I don't know if I've written anything down. You say, it can feel awkward to say, I don't know that I have any principles. Like we wouldn't say, I wouldn't feel good about that. But then when you say, but can we actually write them down on a paper? Then it's like, well, I don't know. So today I'm going to challenge you to really do some deep thinking. And if you haven't, gotten to a level of writing them out or something, hey, no big deal. A principle isn't just something that happens. It's not like, I watched YouTube one day and then I just had all my principles out. But I say, do you need a principle? Here's some thinking. Help us delineate. What might it look like? This is the fleeting pages of this wonderful book, The Mountain Is You, Brianna Weist. Ask this question, what is a principle? What a great way to start. If we're trying to figure out, do I have them? Should I? Do I need them? What might they be? What even is it, okay? She says, a principle is a fundamental truth that you can use to build the foundation of your life. Whoa, so that is big. Crazy Horse is with us. Good morning. Hello. Hope you are well. A principle is not an opinion or a belief. A principle is a matter of cause and effect. Okay, that's how they start this section. And I really like that. It's really big. Okay, the first things I reflect on when I hear this, hey, good morning. So nice to have you both with me here today. I hope you're doing well. I say these are a couple really big sentences. A principle is a fundamental truth you can use to build the foundation of your life. And so as I was thinking about this section, doing a little writing about it, to me, at least if we narrow in on health, I wrote the title here, Core Health Principles. And, I think a health principle could become a guiding principle for life, but it doesn't have to be. And people have different principles. Sometimes a broader principle in life, like leaning into love and kindness as a broad principle. Of course, we can bring broader principles into our health process, give us strength in order to do the difficult work of changing deeply embedded patterns that maybe aren't so healthy. So there's some flow there. The thing I was reflecting on, and you can decide how you feel about it, is fasting as a concept. Can fasting, we're going to go through a lot more reading here, be a principle that is as big as this sentence is? That's what I was reflecting on. It doesn't have to be. Remember, just because we're on a fasting channel, something's very important to me. When you're a hammer, everything doesn't have to be a nail. We can be more thoughtful. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, to me, it kind of is getting to that layer, because in a fasting space, like, what is there? Okay, the human body, my being is here before we add anything else to it. And so if we're looking for a first principle, like, where do we start with something? I say fasting is a pretty good place to start recognizing the strength and power within the human body, and that we can find places of peace and contentment. Fasting giving us a mirror for many different areas in our life where we realize, I actually have enough. This is not a word that we hear very much in our society. So I say keep it in mind, okay? You can pick other principles, and this is totally fine. Queen of Heaven is here. So good to have you here today. I hope you are well today. Good to be here. We are chatting about principles, and doing a little musing based off this phrase about principles are things that we can use to build the foundation of our life. Hey, so excited for you. Glad that you got that. I hope the shipping process worked well, and it is in good shape for you. Grab a mug and join us. That's what I say. Grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab your favorite beverage of choice. Ideally, calorie-free, and then we'd be in total fasting space. Although, I say, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And I really like this. A principle is a matter of cause and effect. We're going to get into that. And cause and effect is something that I think this is how we start to see patterns in our life. And if we really, I was dialing in yesterday talking about that session. I went back and watched it. Clues to the weight loss puzzle, right? Like, a big part of clues or things is like realizing patterns in our life. I got my little mini book that I've shared some quotes from. I got to do that. There's a beautiful quote on cause and effect in that. Now it's just, the idea is coming to me to do a whole deep thinking about cause and effect. But when we start to see the patterns and we believe, okay, there are causes and effects, and we can see how that's played out in our life, and a principle is the type of thing that can flow out of that, especially as we start to get really intentional on choosing the direction that we want to go, and as we have gained experience in a space. We can say we're going to start to enact the best causes that we can. Had says, mug is a great reminder of the space I'm in at the moment. Hey, awesome. I'm really happy about it. To me, that's how it's been for me. Like, I hold it, I look at it. It's like something very tangible to help center the mind and the thinking. So I hope that can be an ongoing blessing for you. Anybody who's coming through, including if you're on the replay, free mugs for viewers while supplies last. And feel free, just shoot me an email. The process, just put a note in the comments, say hi. So I got a YouTube face with a name, and then shoot me an email, drz@simplefasting.com. I put that in the comments, in the chat here live, and then in the comments, so it's clear. If you go simplefasting.com, if you forget it, if there's any technical difficulty, you go simplefasting.com. I've got articles and resources there, and there's a contact there, and you hit the contact button, and that'll send me an email too. Always happy to chat about life and health. Here they go on in this section, some examples of money principles, just to give us an idea, okay? Keep overhead costs low, get out and stay out of debt, live beneath your means, and save something for a rainy day. See, these are all principles in finance. Is very good to help us have margin in our life. I pretty much like all of these as analogies for health principles also. Living beneath our means, right, in a financial sense, giving us a pattern. Living beneath our means, like, say, we could eat a lot more, all right, but we are going to just find a space of contentment, right? This is a path toward weight loss and health. Beautiful. The point of having principles is that it shifts you from having short-term survival to long-term thriving. And isn't this what we want? This is like a big, I don't know if it's the theme or a sub-theme of everything that I want to do here. I want things long-term focused, sustainability. It doesn't matter very much if somebody can do something for a week or three, if it can't last, I've said a phrase I really like, I want simple fasting. I want people who encounter it. I want it to be the last weight loss and health experience that people need. In my experience in medicine, coming on 20 years since medical school, and I started hanging out, full time around medicine, I've just seen people are on cycle after cycle of the next thing and the next thing. And it's one thing after the other. The next supplement is going to be the thing. The next exercise machine that we buy. The next, special guru that we find is going to tell us the way. And I very much am trying not to be that type of person, because like the big secret, obviously, I'm just a guy, and I am trying to gain knowledge, okay? I don't have any special divine insight. I read books. I try to share my best thinking, but nothing hyped, Do you agree? Is there hype here? You give me your honest thing. I was going to say no, but you tell me. If there's hype, we want to extinguish that a bit, because what we want over hype is just reality. When we are grounded in reality, and like we said yesterday, not sugarcoating anything, then we can start to make real tangible progress. There is a lot of hype out there. Also in fasting space, in health in general, is like, people really hype. And then the reality of it is that anything of value has both things where you can find flow and things where there is struggle. And that is the messy reality of life that we are trying to navigate together. And the reality of that is that fasting is real, and there is real benefit. You don't have to hype anything, and we can just talk about, how do we step forward through the beautiful days and the difficult days, and we find grace and compassion, and this sort of space is how we make things sustainable. I've been personally practicing fasting, not every day. Like I said, I took a vacation. I got off track myself, and then it helped me to realize again here, no, this is really helping to keep me on track. I take a month, and I went off without fasting for a little while, and I'm like, whoa, that was the way. The thing that's beautiful about a fasting space, okay, no money to spend. It's not too much to buy. If you happen to be in Wisconsin, if you want some support with it, I'm consulting in my fasting medical practice, and I can help people dial in on how do you handle medications and medical conditions. And I've put resources on simplefasting.com. If we can't connect in that way, and you need someone like that, because I encourage everybody, basically, with any scenario, to talk about your lifestyle and your dietary habits and patterns, which are core parts of our health, with your medical team. And some medical teams not too into that. And so I have a article on simplefasting.com, how to talk to medical providers about fasting. And I have a medical provider resource that people can look at with some of my favorite scholarly papers on it, so that people can start getting the idea if they haven't been exposed to it, and what is the language of how we start having a broader topic, conversation on this topic. Here in a different section, they're talking about eating and a principle of eating. This means that if we are committed to the principle of eating good food in each day, we will inevitably reap the benefits of better or improved health. If we write a sentence each day for many, many years, we will inevitably write a larger piece of work. And if we commit to paying off a portion of our debts each month, we will inevitably clear out our balance in the long term. So these are showing principles, and it's starting to, you see it, cause effect. And I think they get into it later, but they're often delayed. And this is what makes life interesting, right? If we always had immediate feedback that was perfectly clear, we got all the benefits the moment we did something, it would be so much easier to make good decisions, right? Because it would be so clear. Many times we plant a seed of health, we start doing a new practice, that starts bearing fruit 6 months from now. And it can be hard to connect those dots sometimes in the sea of our busyness and things. Same thing, right? Investing, giving us this analogy, right? You start even getting a really great rate of return. You say, I'm locked in 10% annually. You're gonna do great for yourself, right? But what does that look like after 3 months? Like nothing, basically. You can't hardly even see it. 30-day challenge going great. Currently fasting 48 hours, taking it seriously again, hoping to cure my binging on sugar and sweets. Hey, if there's a way to do it, a fasting space is the way to do it in my experience, because just totally putting the lid on that sort of experience, shutting down all the pathways that are running, stopping cycles of dopamine and then the withdrawal from it. And yeah, as long as you are feeling good in a space like that, and you can flow through a space like that where you're feeling positive and energy and all these things are good, I say that is just a space to work. And it's doing the work. That's what I like to say. Doing the work of bringing things back into balance. And so here we are, week 2 on a 30-day lean in. That's what I said. The first part of the lean in, just go +1, right? It's like whatever sort of eating space. If you're not doing any sort of fasting, maybe you're just adding an hour. Or if you're doing a 16-8, maybe you try to go 17 instead of 16. Just lean in a little bit. And then if you have the capacity, if the energy is there, and you can open that up into a broader space, all the better. Here is an interesting analogy that I really liked. They say, our lives are governed by principles, and they have a quote here from Benjamin Hardy. I don't know who that is. Most people cram for tests in college, but can you cram for a test if you're a farmer? Can you forget to plant in the spring, slack off in the summer, and then work hard during the fall and make it up? Of course you cannot. A farm is a natural system governed by principles. And I love this so much because I've used the analogy a lot in health. That it's like trying to grow a garden. And I think a garden is a perfect metaphor for health because so many of the things are the same. Like we need sunlight, and we need water, and we need nutrients. And we're trying to build strong roots to firm up our foundation. That's what this is, figuring out the principles that are really guiding us. So farm as a natural system, like growing our own garden, is so beneficial. The law of harvest, you see cause and effect. You plant and you harvest. Planting consistently over time, giving us yields that compound. This is the type of experience. This is why I love bringing in finance to our health experience, right? You get compounding. We're trying to bend this curve up so that we're not just trying to reach a point, that the goal that we have in health is just one point on a curve, that it's a day on our life and we move on to even greater things that we can't even get our mind around right now. Oh yeah, here I underline, this is what I was saying before, you don't often experience the consequences of your actions immediately, which can be deceiving. It's delayed, and they build out in the long term, both good and bad, right? You start smoking, you might even enjoy it. You're not going to reap a negative consequence like in the first couple days necessarily. It's like maybe some short-term stuff if you're not used to it, but 10 years from now, though, it's not going to be so good. And so we can negatively compound, we can positively compound. We're trying to create the principles and experiences that help us bring as much positive compounding into our life as possible. Here's a section I loved. When we don't pair an inspiration with a principle that it takes to achieve those dreams, we become more lost and disappointed than ever before. I double highlighted this in the book because this is a thought that I've had for a very long time. If you go back, maybe I should even do it. If you go way back, we're heading even 3 years ago now into one of the very first videos that I did on the channel. I won't click around. I'll click around to get lost and I'll hit a button and shut us off. But I think I called it it's like weight loss secret. I think it's one of the only clickbaity type of things. I'd made a silly face like people do on YouTube. Is there a weight loss secret that some people figure out and other people don't? It's some question like that. Weight loss secret. In that core fasting series, and that is getting right into this space. It's talking about inspiration and motivation and how we find it, and that inspiration without the correct plan is like this sentence. There are all kinds of people who get really, really inspired and really, really motivated to do something. Intentionality. We can have even the best of intentions, right? Oh, that's what I said in that video even. We know this phrase, we have the best of intentions, right? But just because we have the best of intentions doesn't mean it works out. So we have to take the best of intentions and marry them to a functional plan or to a core principle that is true and valuable. Remember how this section starts out. A principle is something that is true. It's not just an opinion or a belief. You can really believe that getting up and busting yourself in the gym every day, day after day, all year, even while you hate it, is going to work for you, but it doesn't mean it will, because lots of people do that and don't have that experience. Like, there are many things that we are trying to balance across domains in our life. We dialed in and talked a lot about exercise last week. Exercise incredibly valuable, but if it's the only thing and we don't have the diet in a space and we don't have our mental health in a space and we're stressing ourselves out and we're filling our body with cortisol and adrenaline, and just everything is amped up, and then we're eating more to cope with the stress that we're bringing upon ourselves, right? Exercise should be a stress-reducing practice. Should be a joyful expression, then it can support the system. This is what I say, have you ever been in a space like this? Have you had what felt to you like great intentions, and then there was not a process and you ended up more lost and disappointed than ever before? This is one of the most common experiences, because the data that I've reviewed for weight loss in the country, there's many studies, has a wide range. But it's something by 3 years, it's less than 10% of people who try to lose weight. by 3 years have way less than when they started. Small percentage. Most people, but the same data series that I reviewed show that like 95% of people lost weight at some point. They lost at least 5 pounds at some point, but then it didn't last. It wasn't sustainable. That's why sustainability is like the core driver for me. We've got to do everything that we can to create the environment for our long-term success. And sometimes that looks like looking toward the mountain, and sometimes it also looks like forgetting our goals. Remember, I did that. Forget your goals. Do this instead. That was an Atomic Habits one that is saying we just need to be present in this day and take care of this day, and don't get overwhelmed by the future either. And so, see, we're straddling a very interesting line in that space. We have to take our inspiration and our positive ideas and momentum and pair them to a functional plan. And this is why I have gone, basically in my life, all in on a fasting path, is because we are sitting here, both personally, because it has felt good to me and it's worked for me, that's cause and effect. I was looking for something in my life. I was burning myself out or running 60 miles a week, training and running half marathons, and I could not lose the weight that I put on during my residency program, and it really bothered me. I'm like, man, I paid huge money for a medical education that can't help me do the one thing in health that I want. Like in my personal life, the one thing I want right now is to burn this off that came on from all the ice creams and mac and cheese when I was stress eating, when people are dying and I didn't know. I was not fully competent physician yet, That is a tough thing to go through. And I wanted it gone, and for multiple years, I did that, and then fasting came to me like a gift. And I have been so happy about it. I am literally so happy about it. And so I'm just trying to share that. And the more I've shared it with people, the more people I've run into that have also found benefit from it. And then it turned into something awesome, and being able to get the grant, do the study. Have you seen my paper? I should put a link. I should talk about the paper more. I've got to talk about it more. Medical study was my favorite thing I've ever done in medicine. It was totally an incredible experience, and I had an incredible team at the University of Wisconsin that helped me do it because wonderful researcher, Dr. Feldstein, if this ever finds you, thank you so much. I just loved working with you, and your expertise was incredible. I just loved that we were able to put that together and show something incredibly beautiful, which is that a fasting space can bring healing to type 2 diabetes, and it's in the medical literature now. Why don't I do another talk on that? I should do like an actual talk on my own paper. Okay. Next week I'm hiking. 2 weeks from now, paper. I'm going to talk about it. You have to pair the inspiration with a functional plan, and a functional plan can be very hard to find. People paying huge money for people who are selling them functional plans that don't end up working in the long term. To me, a fasting based system, it is powerful enough, like we said at the beginning. Is it powerful enough to be a principle that you can base at least the health part of our life on? I say it is because it is getting into the core of the metabolism. It is how the body works. The body was designed and built to be able to fast. The body goes through a process. It encounters more energy than it needed. It says, I know it will do this. We'll store this away for later, for times when we really need it. But we live in this Gilded Age where we don't really need it ever, which is just a miracle. It is. And so in order to activate the systems, we have to give the body the opportunity to do it. We voluntarily say, I'm going to give my body a gift. It's been carrying this burden for me. This energy can stay with us for decades. Body's like, maybe we need it 10 years from now. We'll just hang on to it. Once the body goes through the conversion process, think how incredible it is taking a food and making it an actual part of us. That conversion takes energy. You lose something like 10% of the energy when we go here, convert that into us, and we lose more of the energy converting it back out. And so the body is so efficient, it never wants to waste anything. And so the body will not run that process. It'll keep that energy in cold storage as long as it takes, just in case. And when you look at it this way and you see the body's doing a favor for me, it's literally carrying this around for me as extra energy, then we can have compassion on the body. We can say thank you for doing that. See, so many times we can be angry about it. Say, I don't want extra energy here. And when we don't have a functional plan, we don't have the process, it can create a cycle of so much anger and frustration. I know I've experienced that. Then you paid the money for the supplements. Then you took the things, and then you did the special exercises, and you got the ab machine, and you got all this stuff, And it's like then 2 years later, and you're not in a different place, and you say, it's like, okay, this is frustrating. The fasting space, the body says, oh, look at this. This is open space. I know what to do with this. This is what we've been saving this for. This is the window where it is the easiest for the body to release it. Now, listen, I have been working with people with fasting nearly 15 years. And so I'm not saying that it's easy, right? The whole point of why I've made the show and the session is to recognize it's not easy under many circumstances. And the things that'll make it easier, in my experience, having a daily thing where you can check in and stay on track, right? Because I think of life as like we're on a balance beam, and it's like we're trying to walk on a line, and there's a lot of people trying to push us off. This is a space where we're really focusing, right? Trying to bring deep thinking in here so that we can build the habits, patterns, and principles so that we can actually have the benefit. It's one thing to just say, okay, fasting could be a principle, and to understand, okay, I get there's physiology, body storing energy, we can release it. To know all that stuff is good. But it's a whole nother thing to do it and to make it a part of you. I loved that session. Make fasting a part of you. We will dive in and we will talk about it more. The paper, there's a lot of weight loss benefits in the paper. The study specifically is so diabetes focused. And I've been, I'll be happy to hear anybody's thought. I've been trying to figure out the way to most powerfully share the experiences that I've had. And, a weight loss goal and a type 2 diabetes goal, there's a huge amount of overlap, but also they're different. And so, earlier in the channel, I was doing, talks about diabetes, and then it felt like, well, if someone doesn't have diabetes, it's like they just want to lose some weight. It's like, well, that's going to help keep you from getting it. But for better or worse, I split out most of my diabetes-focused stuff into Dr. Z method, which I got links for. Anybody with type 2 diabetes, I'm working the protocol that we did in the paper. I'm doing in Dr. Z method, and we're just taking the steps together. I live stream personally on a Google Meet call so that we can talk face to face on it. And I really do love that. And anybody can come into that space. Anybody trying to lose weight, you're already dealing with insulin resistance. And Dr. Z method is all about getting rid of insulin resistance, which is a process, just like we're doing. It's the same basic ideas. Okay, take the inspiration. That's a lot of thinking about this sentence. Pair the inspiration, the motivation, the desire to a functional plan. Bringing fasting elements to me into our health space is the type of thing that makes everything better. Like we were saying last week, can make our exercise process better, can put our eating into windows that actually help that to be better. Fasting space, getting deep into our mental process. So I love it. They go on. How do we do it? Okay, how do we start developing our own principles? We are not born with principles. They're something we learn and develop and absorb. They say start here. And they start asking questions. What do you value? What do you care about? What feelings do you want to experience in life? And what is making you feel uneasy or giving you anxiety? And they go on with all kinds, they go on pages and pages of examples of ways that we can bring principles into our life. Things that we organically create ourselves so that they're our own. They're not something that somebody told us, you know. And so coming out of that thinking for us here, core health principles, you can think of them a lot of different ways. I'm trying to subtly give you ideas of how fasting could come in at a root level. And if that resonates with you and you say, no, this is a type of principle, maybe you create a phrase of what it means to you or how it might look like, you know. A general principle of fasting, you could phrase it as something like, I value giving space to my body so that it can run autophagy principles, like autophagy processes, and clear out dysfunctional things that I no longer need in my body. Or maybe that's even too sciencey. Even as I was saying, I was like, wow, that is sounding more like a medical dissertation, okay? It's like I value food-free space in my life. You know, it's just a principle. See, it doesn't have to be an hour. See, I don't want people pegged in. Like fasting doesn't have to be like, oh, a rigid structure doesn't have to be the same every day. The benefit of having something the same is that it can align the hormones that are controlling our digestive process, and that can bring a lot of value. And so if you're finding value from it, a routine can be very helpful, but it's not something you're stuck in for every other reason. Like we said, it's like you might be someone practicing 16-8, you're eating twice a day, you say that helps, but now my friend's in town, you're not stuck in it, okay? You didn't sign a contract, you know? So that is a beautiful way. How do you phrase it in your life to bring that in? The other benefit, I tell you, on a schedule and this hormonal structure, was emailing with a couple of y'all yesterday. People having trouble with acid reflux. I started writing a talk yesterday about fasting and acid reflux, GERD, different digestive processes. These things are controlled by hormones that control our acid production. I've seen a huge amount of benefit from various fasting-based practices in helping people overcome reflux, get off of chronic reflux medications in some circumstances. And I found 4 interesting research papers on this that I'm reviewing. I'm going to synthesize them and bring them to you. Which hopefully, this is one thing I've been trying to think about. I was thinking, I like diving in on the little topics. I also want to keep things like really applicable to everybody. So people without reflux, look, the same principle is going to help people just lose weight, going to help keep people from experiencing things like this. So we try to weave it into ways, and maybe I should do more of that with the diabetes too, because that's really my wheelhouse that I really want to help with. Like a whole view that I have here, our weight loss space is really like keep everybody from getting type 2 diabetes if you don't already have it. The data in the country is so amazing. By age 65 in this country, is about 50% of people pre-diabetic, and 78. It gets up to 78% when you add in type 2 diabetes, 28% there. So adding them up, we're getting close to 80% of people with impaired blood sugar by age 65 in this country. When I found a study, I can maybe I'll put that in there, from I think it was like 1961, where the prevalence in the same data series was more like 11%. So we've gone like 11% up to 80%. It's just so wild. Okay, but listen, a core health practice could be other things, so we don't have to just hammer everything fasting. A core health principle could be something else. Like I only put, and you don't have to have just one, okay? You can have multiple principles. But maybe it does help to say, what is really the foundation, the thing I lean into the most? If I were to have to pick a core health principle that is not fasting, I would say I put only the most nutritious unprocessed food into my body. That is like a principle that I live by. I try to almost never, at this point, I can barely do it, put something that I know is harmful into my body. And because this is like the fuel that we have that runs our body and our life. We are built out of the things that we put into our body. And, someone came on the channel, I forget even who it was, but said, man, we need to like really think about this word sacred and just realize if anything in the world anymore is sacred, it is like things that we are making a part of us. Can we just take a minute of like reverence and respect for the food that we are having? And I just, I've really come to resonate with that. And, you eat some junk food, then it's like you feel kind of junky, don't you? And you eat something that is just nutritious and full of life, and don't you just feel better? And who doesn't want to feel better? And so that can be a really tricky space to navigate, because it's like, I say that, oh, you eat some junk food. Like, isn't there a moment where you say, oh, it tastes so good? And like, isn't there some pleasurable part of it? And that is what is so hard. But so like, we have to really say, okay, core principle going to help us see through the mirage of it. Isn't it a mirage? It's like some attractive food. Realize this was designed by people to try to manipulate my feeling. It is not designed to help me be a healthy, powerful, flourishing person. Core principle help us to see that. Only put the healthiest, most nutritious food into the body. And what if someone could do that? And that principle said, I stayed away from diabetes. I lost all the weight I ever wanted and didn't have to practice fasting. Listen, I never have any problem. Nobody ever have to practice any fasting. But the thing I've seen, I'll tell you what I've seen a lot. I've seen people who are pretty dialed in, on eating healthy food and pretty dialed in on exercise, still not able to lose weight that they wanted. And it's not till we really start opening up the fasting space too, and weaving all these threads together to balance them out, that things really start flowing in the right direction. And so I say, why not do every good thing? How about a principle across all four of these domains? And then, of course, the other domain, which also you could look at, maybe the fundamental principle is a beautiful wellness and health practice. And that can look like I value the relationship that I have with myself. And so therefore I will take time out to spend time with myself. And that's a meditation space. We've seen in this book that so many of our problems come because we are not okay. We are not comfortable spending a bit of time with ourselves. Think about an experience you have with a good friend. You could sit down, you could talk with them for hours, so like you would enjoy it, right? Can we have a relationship like that with ourselves, right? Say, whoa, it's like we might not feel so comfortable with that in our own skin, But that is how we start dialing in to find a mental space of peace and contentment in the mind. That's flowing back around into fasting space, open space in the body. We're looking for this. We are mind and body. We are trying to find a space of peace and contentment in both mind and body being, so that everything comes into balance. So whichever of these domains you feel is the foundation, maybe mental health is really the foundation. It's hard to argue with that. Maybe the food that we are eating is the foundation. And all these things are so good. Maybe you resonate with what I said, that fasting is the place we start. Just the body is here, and then we add to it. And from that space, any of these ways, they say we can have multiple core health principles. Maybe you pick one that is a focus for a month. Here we're leaning in for 30 days. And so I've had personally a big exercise focus, in my life, doing the big bike ride. We're going hiking next week. So, this is the season to me, leaning into an exercise path, and then let the other, processes support that. And other times, and maybe that's not your season, maybe this season for you, say it's too hot, I'm not even going outside. For me, I'm going to just lean into the fasting space or some other way. Love to hear what your thinking is. If you have some thinking in the coming days, even coming back to this session, Put some comments in, share your thinking on core health principles and how they are serving you going forward. And I'd love to hear about it. We have an ongoing conversation about it. Shoot me an email if you want a mug. More mugs going out soon to people who have emailed. Appreciate that. I will look forward to connecting with you again soon. Just a tiny bit of planning at the end. We are leaving a family trip, and we're going North Carolina, hiking Blue Ridge Mountains, Grandfather Mountain, Asheville, a bunch of stuff like this. We're leaving on Friday. Probably going to do a session Friday still, but then next week we're going to be having a week off on the fasting space. While I am hiking around, probably no internet, which is sounding beautiful. And then we'll be back at it. But we finish out this week. Got more topics planned and looking forward to it. Maybe some more goats. People I know are asking, where are the goats? Okay, I brought the camera out yesterday and was going to film them, but so much work to do. And I didn't get to it, So, that's all for today. Thank you for sharing this space with me, and we'll talk again soon. Have a great day.